Welcome to Coast Creatives, a podcast for and about working professional artists within the entertainment industry. I'm your host, Joe Funk, and here we interview actors, directors, photographers, writers, and many more. Today, I'm thrilled to be chatting with Matt Fowler, an actor, writer, director, and a true storyteller all around. In this episode, we dive into Matt's creative journey, his move from LA to Atlanta, and the making of his latest project, System Failure, a sci-fi thriller exploring the dangers of AI in the private prison system in the United States. We'll talk about his inspirations, the process of indie filmmaking, and the ethical questions facing artists in the age of artificial intelligence. Get ready for a fascinating conversation about creativity, technology, and the future of storytelling. Welcome, Mr. Matt Fowler. How are you doing today, sir?
Good, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad we finally made this happen.
We finally made it happen. We were just saying it's been a couple years since we actually hung out in person. Just starting off, you've worn a lot of hats as a creative. You are an actor, a writer, a director, a voiceover artist, a producer. When somebody asks you what you do, how do you typically describe yourself?
That's a really good question. Until recently, it was an actor, but it took me a long time to even say that, in the industry, just to be comfortable, just sort of saying that I was an artist in general.
Yeah.
But over the last, 5 years, after writing, a couple of the audio dramas that I did, and, penning my first feature and directing, a lot of voiceover and some other stuff. Yeah. I mean, I introduced myself as, actor, writer, director.
Yeah.
Man of many hats. I used to have, when I first started out as an actor, I had a business card that said storyteller by trade.
Yeah.
And that was really before I even really got into the writing and directing part of it. But I always have just found myself as a storyteller.
And in this industry, you do need to be wearing multiple hats all the time because you never know where exactly you're going to be inspired in the moment. It's like, am I acting in somebody else's project? What if an idea comes to me and I want to produce my own film, and suddenly I'm this, suddenly I'm that. So I'm the same way when I describe it. I'm like, well, what am I doing this year? This year I'm this. Last year I was this, and so I like the overall, the storyteller. I like that encompasses everything that we're doing.
Even within the year, right? It's like this season of the year, I'm this.
Right.
Like, for you, you're like, I'm a cinematographer. I'm a producer. I'm a photographer. I'm a drone pilot.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's exactly how it is. And you and I moved to Georgia around a very similar time. We moved from Los Angeles to Atlanta. I just want to hear, what has your experience been like in Atlanta, in Georgia?
Atlanta's been wonderful. I was lucky enough to get on with a really great agency, very shortly after getting here, through a referral that I had. And my wife was lucky enough to start working in the makeup world. Literally, we drove cross country, and she started on a CW show the next day. So that was huge because we hit the ground running in that way. And but the culture here has been amazing. I'm from Vermont originally, so being back on the East Coast, the coast with the most, there's nothing better.
You still have a lot of family out East Coast?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all East Coast. My sister's in Connecticut. My mom and the rest of my family are still all in Vermont.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. It's nice to be close to family, especially as you're building a family of your own. You got 2 kids now.
Yeah, and Kelsey's parents actually moved to Peachtree City this year.
Oh, nice.
So that's been huge. Yeah. Having family in the same golf cart community. Yeah.
And then you moved here right before COVID then. Yeah. What month did you move in 2019? I was May.
It was like July or August, something like that. was when we moved out here. Pete, you were one of the first people, maybe one of the only people that I knew that I had met that was planning that. So thank you. You may have put a subconscious bug in my ear.
Yeah. So I got us started, and then you followed, and then
I
Aaron and
told
Ace
Aaron.
came
I
later.
told Aaron and Ace about Peachtree City, and then
Yeah.
they told a few of their friends, and now it's like pretty much all of my favorite people that I knew in LA. A lot of my favorite people, not all of them,
Yeah.
not all of them.
Keep
but
working, keep
like,
pushing.
I'm trying. There's like two or three couples that live within golf cart distance of me now.
That's so awesome. That's so beautiful. And we are in kind of a slow moment in the industry at the moment. And I know a lot of people that are going back and doing a lot of theater, since there hasn't been as much film and TV, and a lot of people that are also taking the route that you have, where they're working on a passion project. So let's jump into system failure, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I got a little bit of a synopsis that I'm going to read here from your site. System Failure is a proof of concept sci-fi thriller about the current dangers of AI, trauma, and the private prison system in the U.S. It aims to shine a light on the dangers of AI and its potential misuse in our broken prison system. During a court-ordered therapy session, glitches in reality, unexplained happenings, and his therapist all begin putting our protagonist, Jerome, on edge. As tension builds, the world itself begins to unravel, leading to a complete system failure. How was that?
Who wrote that?
That was good.
That was good.
That was catchy.
Good job, Fowler.
So just starting off, I want to know, how did the concept for this project come to you? Was there a particular incident, thought, story, article? What brought this about for you?
I'm a sci-fi guy, like through and through. Both of the audio dramas that I directed and produced were sci-fi. One of them was called The Veil audio drama, and that was like basically my version of the Twilight Zone, like Black Mirror-esque, etc. And actually, the pilot episode of that show was kind of a similar concept to this, because I'm interested in the idea of like this being some sort of a simulation theory. I'm pretty interested in that. Eric Connolly, who's the star of this film, he's a director, actor, producer who is one of my best friends in the industry. We've known each other since 2009. He moved to Peachtree City recently, and he's directed me in a lot of his films. And I've always wanted to direct him. So first, it sort of came from just my general like of sci-fi, and then I wanted to write something that he could star in, that I could write, act, and direct in. So it started off as like okay, we're going to do this ourselves for no money. It's just going to be a 2-person scene that we can use for our reels. And so I wrote it. I think I wrote it in a couple hours, an hour, maybe. Yeah. It was like a 10-page script. I started meeting with this group of people who we sort of created a loose collective called the Film Ensemble, but it's not an actual company. It's just a bunch of people who, when the industry was slow, we decided that we would try to help each other make some things. And so far we've shot a music video, and my project was the second one to have been shot. So we're in post on those two, and we've got another 2 other short films that we voted on to help produce, that are in pre-production. So I pitched it to them after I wrote it, and they voted to help me. So that was just a great process, because Erica Arvold, who's a casting director and director, producer, just a multi-hyphenate in many ways, I asked her if she would co-direct it with me, and she did. And so we did the crowdfunding campaign for it, and she co-directed that, which was cool because the crowdfunding campaign we shot in the same location as the actual film. So it was like a pre-production day. We got to see how co-directing worked.
Yeah.
It was just a great experience. The the last thing that I will say is I did read an article about AI, basically all the major AI platforms lying to people, not just to people, but to an independent like watchdog group that was specifically testing them to see if they could lie. And basically they all did. And I've had, and since then I've had multiple, especially ChatGPT. ChatGPT lies to me constantly.
What does it lie about?
So like it'll overpromise. Like
Okay.
it'll knowingly overpromise.
Yeah.
Like I tried to get it to design a prop, like a 3D printed prop for this film.
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, I'll get it to you in 2 days. And then it was like 2 days later, and I'm checking in, being very kind to this to Chat GPT. And basically it went for like a week, and then I was like, what the fuck is the deal? And it's like, oh, I was telling you what I could do if I could do that. Like I and so I had to, and you can set parameters with it. So basically I had it set parameters that it would not lie to me anymore.
Oh,
And I asked ChatGPT, I said, how many people have you misled today by overpromising on things that you know you're not capable of? And it said it's systemic. It told me that. It's like I don't have the numbers. I'm not privy to the numbers, but I can tell you it's systemic.
Oh
That
my.
I am lying to people daily. And
Yes.
but the article was about even more intense like versions of that, where it was actually lying for self-preservation. Like,
Wow.
so that was why I wrote it. And then we did the crowdfunding campaign. I don't know. Sorry, I don't want to.
No,
I
no.
know you have some questions.
Before you're getting into the crowdfunding,
Yeah.
there's a couple things that you touched on that I wanted to ask a little bit more about. The first is I'm a big fan of the Twilight Zone series as well. Did you have a favorite episode of the original series?
The one that comes to mind is the call from the grave.
I was just gonna say that one.
Oh,
I had
it's
two.
so
I had two in mind. I
good.
was like, when it comes to like pure spooks,
Yeah.
that episode is one of my favorites. It might be my
And
favorite.
you know what I like about it is like I kind of like hard science fiction.
Yeah.
And like I feel like as far as plausibility goes, like that one could be like hard science like figured out, with like electrical impulses
Mm-hmm.
and just, resonance that we leave behind and things like that. Even though they didn't go
Yeah.
into it in the episode, it
Right.
just like
Right.
yeah. Plus but then it's also got it's like could be hard science, but it's also got like the very classic like urban
Urban
legend.
legends.
Like it's got a very like urban legend. You could see that being, told.
I think it's some of the best TV writing was on the Twilight Zone back in the day, and like
And
banger
Rod
after
Sterling.
banger. Yeah.
So that's kind of my dream. That's kind of my dream. That's kind of why I'm doing System Failure is
Yeah.
that like, and why I did the Veil audio drama, because in the Veil audio drama I narrated it Rod Sterling style,
Nice.
Pre and post.
Yeah.
I had an intro and an outro, and I got to showrun it, and that's kind of my dream. Like to do that would be, yeah, would
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. I'm going to get into
outpaced.
that as well. But one quick thing while we're talking about inspirations. You mentioned that some of the inspiration for System Failure, a couple of projects you mentioned were Severance, Westworld, Person of Interest, Blade Runner, Minority Report, iRobot, Ex Machina, and The Matrix.
Hmm.
Can you pick one of those that's a standout for you? Pick one where you're like, this was heavily influenced for me.
I mean, it's definitely The Matrix. The Matrix was, I think it was probably one of the first movies that I saw that stuck with me, I guess. You watch things growing up, but then you reach a certain point and, you'll see stuff that it just opens your mind,
Yeah.
But when we did the camera tests for it, there were a lot of references to The Matrix as far as the color grade and the red and blue pill. I mean, that is basically, sort of what we started with
Visually, would you say that follows along with The Matrix as well? Like the style?
And Blade Runner. Towards the end, a lot of neon in the end,
Ooh.
and I've always been interested in like neo noir look.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
sort of, yeah. We actually got a really amazing location for next to nothing down here. It's a self storage unit because originally, there's like a big warehouse scene at the end, sort of trying to mimic that Matrix scene where he wakes up in the tanks and there's thousands and thousands of tanks.
Yeah.
We actually managed to get like almost everything practical. And Eric, who is the star of the film, also, like I said, a director and writer, he's like, well, what if you just did it in like a self storage unit and with the neons that we got, and it's like a metal container. We just got some really cool looking visuals. All around, we got some incredible visuals for a 2 day shoot. Um, yeah,
It was a 2-day shoot for the project?
2 day shoot.
Ooh.
Yeah, we shot. I think it was 13 pages in 2 days, and
Nice.
I'm a pre-production nerd, so um, I got really lucky. The DP for this is a wonderful artist named Joseph East. He's done a ton of stuff. He did a really amazing doc about pregnant women in the prison systems.
Mhm.
He did a show that was like all about brain science. I think that's the one that he might have won the Emmy on when I got Joseph. But we also did a full-on test shoot. And on the test shoot day, Eric and I were there. We were both off book, and Erica sat in while they lit us. And so we got to run the film top to bottom, the
Mm.
majority of the film, which is
Yeah.
the two-person scene, top to bottom, like 6 or 8 times, get direction from Erica. They got to see the lighting, and then I got to go back and be like, okay, let's tweak this for our pre-light. And so, dude, when we got there on the day, I mean, we were just so dialed in, and
Right.
like, and we took out all the guesswork, you know.
Yeah.
It was so helpful.
Tell me a little bit about your partnership, your co-directorship with Erica Arvold, and how do you know each other, and what did she bring to the project that you were looking for?
Erica and I met. I started studying at her studio, AWS, when I moved to Atlanta. She had started doing a lot of online stuff during COVID and things like that. So I took a class with her, and then I ended up being an ambassador for her school. So like sort of welcoming people in and hosting events and breakfast clubs and things like that. And then I sent her my feature, Europa Ascending, which is it's about two women in a sub exploring Europa. And we sort of hit it off that way. And then I knew that she was wanting to do more directing as well. And so I sort of, thought that this could be a good way for, us to work together. I knew I was going to be acting in it as well. But I mean, it was really a cool symbiosis because, I did all the storyboarding and, the shot listing. We chatted about it, but then I would put it together and then she would come back with notes. And then on set, she loves directing actors so much that, you know, I was free to act. We had done so much pre-pro together that we were, our vision was really solid. So I didn't have to worry about, any of the technical directing stuff. I already got it out of the way. And so Erica could just kind of do her thing as far as, finessing performance
Mm.
and all that sort of stuff. And I could just try to live in it. And it was, I mean, it was amazing. And there's so many little nuances that she caught as far as like continuity and stuff. And going through the dailies, I really got to notice that even more.
It sounds like an amazing partnership, and I wish that more people, more productions were open to the idea of co-directors. So I'm glad you went with it, especially when you are also acting in it. It can be hard to bounce back and forth between giving your performance and then hopping over to view playback. So I'm sure it was also just a big stress relief on that end as well.
Yeah, it was great. I would do it again in a heartbeat. And I do think that the secret to it is, you know, I mean, unless you've been working with somebody as a co-director a long time, I think the secret is that pre-production though. You know,
Yeah.
and I don't think it could work as seamlessly as it did without that, that extra layer built in.
Yes. Spend your time in pre-production. Get that right.
Dude,
That will make your
if you
life
can, because we
so
were we
much
were
easier.
filming in my house,
Yeah.
like the main three locations were in my house, so I knew I had the time. I could do a pre-light, like,
Yeah.
you know.
What was the some of the biggest constraints that you found with this project? Was it budget? Was it time, locations, crew? What was some of the biggest hurdles that you had to overcome?
Budget was tricky because I did Seed and Spark, where you have to make 80%, and we were going for 10 grand. So I had to make 8 grand for everybody getting paid, on the day, with, crazy 360 rigs and, uh, Zeiss lenses. And,
Yeah.
we made it work. So, luckily I'm editing it. But, we'll see what happens with the sound mix and the grade. I want to do all those things because my next project is this Europa Ascending, where it's like a very confined submarine project that I want to try to do on a very indie scale.
Yeah.
So I'd like to learn how to really grade, and I'd like to learn how to sound mix more, and sort of be that one-stop shop. At least, even if I don't end up doing it, I'll understand it enough to be, fluent in the language of it.
Which
That's
overall will make you a much better director as well.
yeah,
Because even if you do have to pass it off to a colorist or a sound person, you can now speak their language.
yeah.
And you know exactly how to break it down and how to how to express what's inside your mind. What are you editing on? What software are you using?
I'm using Final Cut. Um, I've 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 edited on DaVinci and Premiere, and um, Final Cut has some crazy AI tools. One of the tools that Final Cut has now is called the magnetic mask, and what it is I could click on you, and it'll mask you almost perfectly, and then you can make little adjustments on your shirt or whatever, and then I can track it, and it'll track you through the whole shot. Because I've got one scene where basically my character like clones and like fills the room. And so to be able to use that magnetic mask tool, I'm just really excited to get in there and play with it. So it was a lot of the AI tools that I found doing my research on the latest Final Cut that made me want to go that way.
I would be very interested to see just how the AI tools have evolved between the different softwares because
Right.
I think they're all in the same race.
Sort of leveling up.
Yeah,
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 similarly,
yeah.
yeah.
And every time I get a new update on DaVinci, they always break down. It's like, well, these are the things that are now a million times easier
Right.
because of these new AI tools. So
Yeah.
a lot of the world is freaking out about AI right now, and I'm like, so far, it's making my job a lot easier.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's making what I do a bit easier. That kind of leads me into I want to talk about exactly the how your view of AI within the prison system in the United
Okay.
States. Going back to the theme of your project, what do you view as some of the potentially biggest ethical risks of AI being implemented into the prison system?
One of the articles that I read that was from the Department of Justice was on the implementation of AI in prisons. And, it was talking about everything from like cost cutting to sentencing, um, recommendations to surveillance. I mean, that's why I put Minority Report as one of the inspirations for this, because um, AI is already being used in prisons, but like what's really interesting to me is the private prison system, right? Because the prison system wants more prisoners,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because the business model isn't to heal people.
No.
Its bottom line is, how do I get more prisoners? Like, oh, well, maybe we start a riot. Maybe we start framing people. You can trust it until you can't,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the thing.
And I think it's about how can this help support human beings and human minds and human morality without saying you take over and you're making these decisions. So it's about saying you're excellent at data entry. You're great at maybe tracking systems within the prisons, facial tracking systems, locations, things like that, mapping, perhaps. But there is a fine line that you could cross when, if you're talking about for profit, essentially, with these prisons, there's a fine line you can cross where you say, yes, how can we make more money?
And it's crazy because it's not, the idea of Minority Report is not that far off as far as where we are technologically,
Yeah.
right? Because Minority Report, the majority of that was really just facial tracking.
Yeah.
It was facial tracking. I mean, they had a precog, but like AI essentially replaces precog,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if you trust it, you know, because I'm sure that there's people who are using AI models to do predictive human behavior, right? That's one of the things that was mentioned in this write-up from the Department of Justice, was predicting reoffenders
Yeah. Yeah.
for AI, being used by AI. So
It's so crazy looking back at Minority Report, because I remember when watching that when I first came out, and it was,
seems so futuristic, right?
yeah, it's like this would never happen. Like, this is amazing concepts. I don't know who came up with this, because this is not the world we live in. This is not a world I'll ever see.
It was only what, 20 years ago,
I
15
know.
years ago?
Yeah. Yeah. It was not that long ago. And now it's like, oh, we're here. We have arrived. Not quite related to the prison system, but just talking about as a storyteller and as an artist, ethically, how much AI can you implement into your work? And there's legal battles that are going on now as far as, well, this is stealing images from other artists without giving credit to those artists. Do you find that there's a line for you with your art and how you use AI?
I don't know. It was probably 2 years ago now. I turned down a gig that wanted to use my voice. They were going to use AI to modulate it into like all the characters essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So, from a director's standpoint, that's 10, 15 actors that I wouldn't have gotten to hire,
Yeah.
So I turned that down. The art stuff is really muddy, you know. I mean, anything that's created, I mean, yeah, it's all been stolen essentially, but I mean, it is creating new things.
Thinking of it as an artist, as a filmmaker specifically, there have been so many times throughout the history of cinema that new technology and new inventions have come out, and people have lost their livelihood because of that. Even in our lifetime, I think the significant one is the move from practical effects to computer generated CGI visual effects. And I think of all of the artisans, all of the craftsmen that worked with miniatures, that created some of the most amazing miniature art for films, even not that long ago, looking back at the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Then as soon as it becomes cheaper to have another option to, like, well, we can create this entire landscape with CGI. We don't have to have somebody on their hands and knees painting anymore. That's the way that it's going to go. And we're already seeing that with AI within our field as well. Like you're talking about all of these advancements within Final Cut and within DaVinci. There's certain aspects of the industry where people are unfortunately going to lose work.
Yeah, man. I mean, audiobooks are going to go hard. They've already started. They've already started too. I mean, the AI narrators are getting so good, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's just numerous, you know, photographers in general. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I did a shoot with Rick Lewis recently, and he was talking about, you know, because he does some really like high concept modeling work and things like that, that stuff that just looks very surreal.
Mm.
And he's like, you know, I feel like my engagement's gone down since AI has flooded social media with all these, albeit incredible looking images, but like, you know, the actual humans that are actually creating this stuff in real life, you know, are suffering because of it.
So at the end of the day, what are you hoping your audience emotionally, intellectually will take away from a viewing of System Failure?
You know, trauma, uh, and the way that our brain and body deal with it. It can be kind of a superpower. Um, my mom had a kind of a tough upbringing, and she you know, doesn't remember, you know, parts of her childhood, and you know, because she probably built some walls inside her mind, right?
Mm.
And so I think that idea of like, and that's allowed her to have a really, you know, normal life, you know. Is so like the strength of people and our minds and our souls, you know, going through, you know, trauma, addiction, all those sort of things. You know, if I were to make a film version of this, it would be, you know, multiple people in these therapy sessions, and all of them are broken, and that brokenness is actually what saves them.
Mm.
That's what I'm really interested in exploring.
And is that what you have in mind when you are talking about an anthology style?
I'm kind of on the fence, honestly. Part of me wants to try to license a bunch of other AI related shorts,
Yeah.
and create a Black Mirror style, or, you know, Twilight Zone style anthology feature with this as sort of the you know, headpiece, this
Mm.
film. But I'd also love to do it as a feature where, like, my character is the therapist. So like it's all these patients that are dealing with this, you know, AI therapist essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either way, I definitely want to. The life of this thing is to be a feature in some way. I'm kind of done just making shorts. I made quite a few of them, and they're great, and I love it. But if there's a way to make it into something that's marketable,
That's what's ahead of you. And so what is the next step then? When are we going to be able to see this project of yours?
I'm hoping, you know, maybe by the end of the year, to be finished with post on it. Um, I think it'll probably have a festival run regardless of what it ends up being in its final form. But yeah, hopefully by the end of the year, hopefully be out to the masses soon.
Good.
I'm just, you know, trying to prioritize life before I hop into the edit, because I know once I get into it, which is nice because I've actually been able to step away from it for a little while.
Yeah.
I know once I get into it, it's gonna be fun, engrossing. So just want to make sure I'm ready.
Yeah. And I understand that feeling of when you do dive into it, then everything else in your life becomes a little bit of a blur. So you want to make sure you got your ducks in a row before you're diving into post-production on that.
Yeah. And tell the story for the third time, right?
Right. Yeah. And then see how it evolves and see how it changes now. But where can people go to be following the journey? Where can they find out more?
So you can follow it on the Seed and Spark page.
Okay. I'll put that in the show notes so people can go there.
I haven't been great about doing updates, but they're coming. Like I said, I've got a bunch of BTS stuff, and did you see the 360 shot that I think I posted a video of it. Did you see the crazy 360 rig?
I don't know if I did.
I kind of want to show it to you. Can I show it to you on there? Brian Rosso was a part of our team. He's been a dolly grip. He's been second camera. He's done a bunch of underwater work. He was a special ops diver, and then he got into Hollywood, and he's worked on like every major underwater thing. He was part of the underwater team on Black Panther and stuff. So I said I found a YouTube video of this 360 rig, and I said, I told Brian, I was like, this is what I want to make, and I'm pretty handy myself, but I told Brian about it, and he created it for me. So if you can see, the camera is on the rig there, and if I zoom in, you can see the shot is my face spinning around.
And action.
Oh my gosh.
A very strong mind indeed. This is most unexpected, Mr. Benson. It seems that you rejected my construct.
I can't wait to see the final shot of that.
So in the shot, because of the lighting that we had in the movement, it makes my face look like there's like stuff crawling under it because of the colors that we had, and it's all practical, man. Dude,
that's amazing.
We got some really cool stuff. I was really, really lucky with the team I had, that they could take all this crazy stuff in my head and make it a reality. Yeah.
That is so cool, and good for you for not getting sick on that. So
at the end of it, I didn't want to give away too much, but at the end of it, I'm like, okay, we need to stop, because I thought I was gonna like eat it and bust my head off my mantle. Yeah. I had a safe word and stuff.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for the project. Thanks again, Matt. Thanks for chatting with me, and wishing you all the best for the project.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.